Oh, we're starting off busy today.
Oh, yeah,
wow, look at
okay. So, as you guys know from last week, we kind of made a bit of a challenge. So, we made a challenge to...
Blacks and Bow, who's a host of a public access program based out of Atlanta, Georgia. This is somebody who said a lot of really stupid, bigoted things on his show, and we invited him to defend these things.
Right.
So I guess here he is.
No, actually, this is not.
This is not him, thankfully.
Yeah, no.
Airways are a little cleaner.
So we did say last week that we talked about his homophobia or his hatred of homosexuality.
And the fact that he was embracing pseudoscience to try to defend this stuff.
Yeah, and we said we had tried to contact organizations at the Atlanta area to get their take on this. And we have two people from that organization with us right now. We have Benjamin and Mandisa, both from Atlanta. Let me see if I can bring you in. Mandisa, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
And Benjamin, are you with us? Hello?
Hello?
Hey,
good.
welcome to Ask an
I'm
Atheist.
not Benjamin, though.
Oh, you are?
No, I'm John from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, sorry, John.
Oh,
shoot.
okay.
I can be put on hold again. But wait.
Yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute. All right,
Thanks, John.
We're experiencing technical
I
difficulties.
think we just hung up on him because I don't know how to work this
Oh,
equipment.
no.
Please call back.
John, please call us back.
John, please call us back. We're so sorry. We didn't mean to hang up.
Anyways, Mandisa.
Yes, how
welcome.
are you?
Doing great. How's everything going in Atlanta right now?
Everything is going well. It's a bit hectic right now, but it is going well. I really appreciate y'all reaching out to us to get some clarification on the situation, and also looking into the fact that there are other groups in the area that are definitely not like Black Atheists of Atlanta.
So you're actually the president of the Black Non-Believers of Atlanta. Tell us about your group.
Yes, well, we are Secular Fellowship, which is dedicated to helping bring out other non-believers in the Black community. I don't know if you had a chance to check out our website, but we unfortunately have a special dynamic when it comes to religion in our community. The Black church has such a stranglehold on our community, and also any supernatural and religious claims, as you kind of heard last week from Black Son and his people. These types of ideas run rampant in our communities, and for many of us, it is very difficult to express ideas to the contrary. That that if we don't believe, you are very much ostracized from your community. And for some, there are a lot of people who are still sitting in the churches who don't believe, who are afraid of losing everything.
Yeah.
And it's really, really something that is a concern to us, because I've had people ever since I have fully come back to embracing, just saying I'm an atheist. I've had so many people come to me and say to me, thank you for saying that. I thought I was the only one who felt that way. There's so many people out there. They need to know that there are others. They are not alone, that we're trying to establish a network and a community for other Black non-believers. And in particular, we're not a separatist group. We're basically trying to help each other bridge the gap in the community at large.
Absolutely. And this is something we talked about last week, where people, with our caller last week, where people seem to think that when you give up the religious claims, that means you must also give up the entire social substrate that you exist in. Your friends, your family, your connections, and
Right,
yeah.
So, Mandisa, I have to ask, why do you think that this sort of connection to churches and sort of magical thinking is so strong in the Black community?
Well, because for the longest time, and throughout history, and it is no secret that Christianity was imposed upon the Africans upon arriving to the country,
right.
And being indoctrinated by force. It has been the dominant religion in the Black community, and so it's really been a part of a lot of people's lives. For many, the church is all that a lot of Black people had. And so, through not necessarily all through the civil rights movement, but through a lot of the struggles, the church seems to have been at the forefront of the civil rights movement. It wasn't necessarily all instrumental, but it became a focal point, because that's where people were allowed to meet without getting shot or killed or hurt. So it's been a part of a lot of people's lives for a long time.
That was a conversation we've been having. Is that the church in the civil rights movement in the '60s and onwards, the church played a central role, and a lot of people like to say that this couldn't have happened because of the church, or was the church incidental? And that's a debate we've been having.
Yeah, I think it is incidental because there were a lot of people, like for example, Bayard Rustin, who he was a Quaker, but he was also gay, but he was also instrumental. He was very much an advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. in the movement. So there were others that were not directly involved in the church that were involved in the civil rights movement.
Yeah, I know that. I've heard that too, and I've seen that one thing I've talked about is how, if you look at, say, the gay rights movement, that a church really isn't the central piece to that there are secular community centers. And do you think that the civil rights movement, of course it wouldn't have taken the same shape necessarily, but you think that it could have formed around secular community centers, or?
I think it really should have, because the problems in our community are not necessarily religiously based. They're human rights struggles.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
think every race and every culture has experienced a human rights issue, and so it wasn't just based on your religious beliefs. It was based on, a lot of it was your color and also your background. So it didn't necessarily have to do with what religion you practiced. So I think that it did kind of shift in a way from the human rights aspect to it just being, I guess, maybe a religious aspect, which is not necessarily accurate.
Right. It was just a transition because of the situation and the culture in which things were put together. It happened to be around religion, so that became the nucleus. So, from what I understood in talking to you online, I hate to bring this up, but there's a reason you're with us today. Is that like last week we played some clips of the air on the Black Atheists of Atlanta show, and you're a different organization, but you are familiar with this person, correct?
Yes. Upon trying to find some groups in Atlanta, because one thing that I know I've been pushing and other Black atheists online have been pushing has been for more of us to get out, get engaged, go to meetups or go to meetings, and become more involved in the community as well as the movement, and to speak out about your non-belief. Because it won't do any good if we stay silent,
right,
or just stay behind the computer screen and just talk amongst each other.
Right.
It's time for us to come, and this is not just Black atheists, all atheists as a whole. So upon...
I think we agree.
Upon doing some research, I saw that Black Sun was putting together a Black Atheist meeting. So I expressed some interest in that, and in between that time, I had met Ben at a meetup, and we decided to form Black Non-Believers of Atlanta, BNOA for short. And so, in getting in touch with Black Sun and some of his people, they had a planning session, and we thought that would be a good opportunity to network with them, because they were atheists as well. So they did kind of join our online forum on Facebook, and we quickly found out that their beliefs, or we found out about their homophobic and separatist ideas.
Yeah.
Right, and I understand that after that point, a lot of the people that we thought were interesting on that show sort of jumped ship.
Yeah, they did, and it eventually got to the point where we severed ties with Black Sun and another one of his colleagues, because we said, the homophobic issue kept coming up, and we said no. And then also speaking with other organizations that he tried to work with, we realized that we're like, no, we don't want to be, and it's hard.
Right.
For us to say we don't want to work with someone, but when you have people that are toxic and who have these ideas, I don't care what color you are, I mean, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that I understand exactly. I mean, we've had, not to name names because it was private, but we've had our own experiences with some loose cannons coming into the community and coming into the project and having just ideas that were completely off target from what we wanted to talk about. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it sounds like in your case, this particular loose cannon had the keys to the castle in this case.
And a TV show.
Yeah.
Yes, and, he was working, I think he still is working on a documentary called The God Concept, which is a bunch of, and let me just say that, my background is not, I wasn't raised a Christian, I was raised a black nationalist. I was raised to think that, all whites were bad, I should not associate with them, and that we should be separate as a people, but as I grew up, I realized that that was not something that I needed to embody or that I wanted to embody because I try to love everyone, and I try to get along with everybody. So I realized that it was very counterproductive.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of that amongst them, and it's, it was something I didn't want to be a part of. But once we severed ties with their organization, that's when they came up with and they formed Black Atheists of Atlanta.
Okay.
So I said, you know what, if that will work for them, that's fine. I wish them the best of luck with that, but we will not have that over here.
So it sounds like they picked a name, sort of a sound-alike name, to get maybe some Google clicks or something like that.
They did, not only to kind of take away from Black Non-Believers of Atlanta, but also Black Atheists of America.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, fair point, yeah.
Which is a group that was founded by Ayanna Watson, and it's a great group. We're looking to collaborate with them among other atheist groups as well. So it was really, really, I think it was a stab at both of us.
Fair enough.
Both of our organizations.
All right, Mandisa, we're going to need to go into the break, but why don't you hang with us, and
sure.
We will continue this conversation when we get back.
Okay,
This is Ask an Atheist, 253-584-1480, and we'll be back in a moment.